Okay. The paper focuses on counseling and moral education as a panacea in reducing the increasing trend of agitations in Nigeria. Nigeria is a plural and heterogeneous state with over 350 ethnic groups, with the Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, and Igbos making the majority tribes. A country with over 400 languages and about 190 million people, where resource allocation has always been centralized, thereby causing frustration, aggression, and hunger for the control of the center. Since independence 1960, the country has witnessed a lot of violent eruption, ethno-religious crisis, the Biafran War, and general insecurity in nearly all the states of the Federation. But more recently, the sporadic agitations in nearly all the geopolitical zone of the Federation has resulted in operation of several militia groups. The operation of these militia groups, constituted by a large number of youth, has caused a lot of havoc in the country, leading to social and economic dislocation, psychological losses, destruction of property, kidnapping, and all other forms of maladies. Globally, youth are faced with enormous problems. This, however, explains why adolescents out of tension, frustration, and aggression often indulge in violent acts, which, if not checkmate, could lead to formation of group agitation. And these adolescents are not mature enough to critically evaluate baffling situations they continuously face, which means they need somebody to help them in the solution of problems and thus avoid tension, frustration, and conflicts. If their goals, aspirations, and expectations are to be shaped accordingly, counseling is a service designed that will help an individual to analyze themselves or himself or herself by relating his capabilities, achievements, interests, and mode of adjustment. Morally, adolescents need to be taught the right conduct, not only in their immediate social relations, but also in their dealings with their fellow citizens and with the whole of human race. Counseling services and moral education is embedded in every educational system, but lack of adequate attention by the government over the years has exposed these adolescents to society where violence and agitations is the only way to dispose their demands and grievance. Consequently, several strategies and measures have been adopted by the federal government, but which includes dialogue, amnesty, and military interventions over the years in response to the request of these military groups. It has yielded insufficient results. Therefore, it is against this background that this paper examines its increasing trend and how it can be reduced through counseling and moral education in Nigeria. Problems. In South Nigeria, the problem had taken alarming dimension. This explains the recent attack on oil pipelines in the region, which has created instability in the country by Niger Delta Volunteer Force, the movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta, and the recent Niger Delta Avengers, among over the years. Their agitations is primarily based on quest for resource control as a result of oil discovery in the region, and also a result of political, economic, and environmental disenfranchisement. Similarly, in southeast Nigeria, their agitation is based on the fact that the Nigerian government has been marginalizing the Igbos. This is informed by the incessant hardship, lack of holistic development in the socio-economic landscape of Nigeria, lack of youth employment, corruption in high offices, and economic recession. In northeast Nigeria, Boko Haram operation is anchored on total Islamization of Nigeria and the application of Sharia law throughout the country, which has been, there's a mistake here, which they are intending to achieve through clandestine activities like kidnapping, bombing, and suicide attacks at both government and religious institutions that parade a huge number of people at a time. The agitation by Boko Haram for the imposition of Sharia panel court in the 36 states of the Federation is primitive and unconstitutional, as Nigeria is a secular state. The state strongly advocates for the abrogation of any form of Western education and culture generally, and it draws its members mainly from disaffected youth, unemployed graduates, including former Amajiris, who migrated from the rural areas to urban areas in search of better means of living. Their demand has led to several activities like kidnapping, bombing, and suicide attacks at both government and religious institutions that parade a huge number of people at a time. Since its military operation in 2009, about 17,000 people have been killed, especially in the northeast of Nigeria. The theoretical explanation. The frustration aggression theory is associated with the work of John Donald et al. The core assumption of which is that aggression is based on frustration, and this frustration always leads to aggression. Frustration, when it builds up, leads to the rising up of suppressed emotion of anger, which is often directed against a party considered to be the source of deprivation of satisfaction. This strong emotion finally finds an outlet through aggression and invariable violence disposition towards the environment. The increased trend of agitations by several military groups against the government of Nigeria are viewed in this perspective. This, however, is perceived to be of sufficient generality to provide a basis for the explanation of virtually all forms of agitations and aggressive behavior, which is the appropriate description of the increased trend of agitations in Nigeria. Methodology. The method used. The work adopted the cross-section survey research design. The population of the study consists of all the teachers in Enugu North local government area in Nigeria, which is about 400 teaching staff. The sample is determined statistically using the Tero Yamen, which resulted in 200. A semi-structured questionnaire was constructed, which were aimed at eliciting the teacher opinion on how counseling and moral education can help to reduce the increased trend of agitation in Nigeria. The data collected was analyzed using the mean. The item responses were weighed in this order: strongly agreed for, agreed 3, disagreed 2, strongly disagreed 1. The benchmark of 2.5 was adopted as a result of either accepting or rejecting the result. Hence, any result that is below 2.5 will be rejected, while results from 2.5 and above will be accepted. Result and discussion hypothesis. The younger people are more likely to be involved in the agitation than older people. Ages 20 to 39 has the highest respondent that strongly agree that young people are more likely to be involved in the agitation than older people, while ages 10 to 19 and 50 and above strongly disagree that older people are likely to be involved in agitation than younger people. The results were all accepted since they had mean rating of 2.5 and above. The implication is that younger people are more likely to be involved in the agitation than older people because of the multiplicity of problems that they face in various domains of life. This younger one may then inadvertently and unconsciously respond with the problems. They may feel disempowered by the current state of affairs in the country. In this rapid moving complex society, the students are struggling for the better adjustment and existence. If they are not getting proper guidance, they may engage in antisocial activities and agitations in any kind to dispose their grievances. Significance of the research. It is hoped that the findings of this may also help in reducing the multiplicity of problems that the individual have to face the various domains of life, which often result in frustration that leads to agitation. The study can also come up with possible interventions which could be adopted in an effort to reduce the increasing trend of the agitations in Nigeria. Possible intervention to be adopted. Government should provide the right education and training that will ensure the possession of the suitable skill suitable for youth to enhance youth participants in social orderliness and national development. You should learn to identify pride in self-worth regardless of race, color, or creed. Discrimination will disappear from society when persons are judged not by skin, color, ethnic group, or the class to which they belong, but by their ability and integrity. Government should support counseling and moral education practically by providing and making funds available. These are the references I used. Conclusion. Counseling and moral education enriches students' perspective and promotes their attitude towards resolving educational, vocational, and personal problems. Furthermore, counseling and moral education can implant in students such disposition that will enable them to live and work harmoniously with others and every other level of human interaction. The finding also revealed that counseling and moral education entail direct human energy towards constructive social goals, and which has to be instilled by training and education so that a set of values may may be formed. From the above finding of the research, counseling and moral education has been identified as a personalized and individualized process for helping the young people to learn and acquire habits, skills, attitudes, and interests which make him a normal adjusted being. By so doing, these young people will be taken off the streets because they must have acquired all the necessary ingredients that will make them not to engage in antisocial activities. This is the end. Thank you very much